Let's see, Anna, is there anybody else not on that we need to wait for? Let's see. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start. Good morning, well, good afternoon. Welcome to the July 8th, 2020 meeting of the Communication and Public Education Committee. I'm Ricardo Sanchez, the committee chairperson. Before we begin, I would like to announce this meeting, that this meeting is being conducted consistent with the Governor Gavin Newsom's executive order N-29-20. People watching the webcast can only observe the meeting. Anyone interested in participating in the meeting must join the WebEx meeting. Information and instructions are posted on our website. All lines are currently on mute with the exception of our council to allow for an orderly meeting with full participation. Lines will remain on mute until I direct staff to open the lines for public comments. I will announce when we are accepting public comment on the various issues. I had advised staff to allot 2 minutes to each person providing comments. This approach is necessary to facilitate this meeting and to ensure the committee can complete its business as noticed on the meeting agenda. I appreciate your understanding and patience as we navigate this meeting format. I will now ask staff moderating the meeting to provide general instructions to the public. So, moderator, can you provide those instructions?
Thank you. This is the moderator. And before we get started, I would like to remind committee members and seniors. Hello, can you hear me?
Are you guys there?
This is the moderator. Can you hear me? This is the moderator. Can people hear the moderator?
I can hear you, but have you been hearing what I've been saying?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure I wasn't hearing anybody else.
Okay. All right. So I would like to remind committee members and senior staff who are not speaking to mute their microphone. If I detect background noise during the meeting as a result of unmuted microphones, I will interject with a brief friendly reminder or simply mute the microphone. To facilitate public comment, we will be utilizing the WebEx question and answer feature. When the committee chairperson reaches a point in the agenda at which public comment is appropriate, public comment will be requested. At the committee's direction, I will turn on and announce the opening of the Q&A feature. Members of the public can observe the meeting through webcast. However, if they would like to participate in public comment, they must enter the WebEx event through the link provided in the agenda. It is not necessary to identify yourself in order to make a public comment. If any attendees utilize a profane name, they will not be called upon to prevent members of the public from being subjected to profane language. While you are free to express criticism or negative views, for the sake of members of the public participating on the call, please do not use profane language when making public comments to the committee. Thank you. And with that, I turn the meeting back over to the chairperson.
Thank you. We will now move to agenda item A. I call this meeting to order and will now take roll to establish a quorum. Members, as I call your name, please remember to open your line before speaking. Ryan Brooks.
Chairperson Ricardo, this is Ann Sodergren. Mr. Brooks will be joining in about 5 minutes.
Okay. Shirley Kim.
Good afternoon, President.
Okay. Sung Oh.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm here.
Oh, thank you. And Debbie DeMoth.
Debbie is not a member of the committee. She's likely board staff.
Oh, okay. Well, there is, and then myself, Ricardo Sanchez. I am present, and thank you. We have a quorum. Let's move to items. Somebody has their mic on right now.
Oh, this is Ryan Brooks. I am present also.
Thank you, Ryan. Nice to have you on board. Okay, we have a quorum, so we're going to go ahead and move on to item B, public comment on items not on the agenda and matters for future meetings. The committee will now hear public comments on matters that are not on the agenda. I remind the public that the committee cannot discuss or take action on any matter raised during this part of the meeting except to place the matter on a future agenda. Are there any public comments on items not on the agenda?
This is the moderator, and at the direction of the committee, I will open the question and answer panel. All right, the question and answer panel is now available. If you are a member of the public and would like to make a comment, please type "I would like to make a comment" in the lower right-hand corner of the screen in the Q&A panel box and submit it to all panelists. As a reminder, if you are a member of the public and wish to participate in the by submitting a comment, you must enter the WebEx event through the link provided on the agenda. We are displaying instructions for you to make a public comment on the screen. If you do not see the Q&A panel, please click on the icon of a person next to 3 lines at the bottom middle of your screen, and we will give you a moment to access this feature.
Okay, I don't see any comments from the public.
This is the moderator. We actually do have one person. It's Stephen Gray, or an individual who's identified himself as Stephen Gray. So, Stephen, I will let you know when you have been unmuted, and you will have 2 minutes to give your comment. All right, Stephen, you've been unmuted, and you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Mr. Sanchez, I have just 4 comments I'd like to make for future agenda, but it somewhat depends on whether they are covered during this meeting. So I didn't know whether to offer them now for a future agenda or as each subject comes up. So let me list them now, and then you can deal with them as however you please. In the minutes of the last meeting, I noticed that I had mentioned 4 things. The first one for future agenda would be that before we decide possibly to do away with the public poster or change the statute to do so, we should reach out to a lot of consumer groups to ask them what they would like to now see, because things have changed since the poster was developed. So I suggest that before any further action is taken, we reach out to CARA and other consumer groups and to put that on the agenda. The second thing is to include in the notice, if we go forward, that the purpose of the medication should be on the medication label and that patients have the right to ask for that from their prescriber or the pharmacist. The third thing is that licensees should be informing the public of the problems with driving under the influence of not only alcohol, etc., but prescription drugs, and likewise, perhaps on the poster and pharmacists should be regarding the new law, which says that that type of warning has to be in writing and has to include boats and vessels. And lastly, the fourth thing is I'd ask that we get put on the agenda a discussion about getting more detail on media inquiries, not only what the media ask of the Board of Pharmacy, but also more detail
10
on.
seconds.
Thank you. More detail on what the board responded. We need that information in general to know, as licensees, as pharmacy operators, etc., what the media is asking about and what they believe the public is concerned about. So those 4 items I'd like to submit for future agenda items. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve Gray. That's good points, and we'll make a note of that.
All right, Mr. Chairperson, there are no more requests for public comments at this time. Would you like me to close the Q&A panel?
Please do.
Thank you, I will.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to agenda item C, approval of the January 29th 2020 Communication and Public Education Committee meeting minutes. A copy of the minutes is in the attachment 1. Is there a motion and second to approve the minutes?
Hi, this is Al. I can motion to approve.
Thank you. I have a second. Shirley, Ryan, you guys there?
Yes, I approve.
Okay. Ryan,
Brooks.
second. Okay. And Brooks, second. Okay. Any committee member comments on the minutes? Okay, hearing none. We'll go ahead and move on. Oh, I'm sorry, is there a comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. This is
No
the moderator.
Okay, well, let's move on to public comments. Any public comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. This is the moderator, and I will go ahead and open the question and answer feature. The question and answer feature is now available. If you would like to make a public comment, please type in the field provided. I would like to make a comment and submit it to all panelists. As a reminder, if a member of the public would like to participate in public comment, they must enter the WebEx through the link provided in the agenda. If you are not seeing the Q&A panel, we are providing instructions on the screen. You can click on the outline of a person next to 3 lines at the bottom middle of your screen, and then you should see the comment box to your right, lower right, and we'll give you a moment to do that. This is the moderator, and Mr. Chairperson, I am seeing no request for public comment at this time. Would you like me to close the Q&A panel?
Yes, please.
Thank you, I will do that.
Sorry, I kind of got ahead of myself here. But we've already, did the first and second here for the acceptance of the minutes. We'll now do roll call, member by name, and let me know your vote on it so that we could accept the minutes. Ryan Brooks. Can't hear you, Ryan.
Yes.
Shirley Kim.
Abstaining.
Okay. Okay. Sung-Oh.
I support.
Okay. Yes. And myself is a yes. 3 yeses, 1 abstain. Motion passes. Thank you. Let's move on to item D. Discussion and consideration of communication plan regarding SB 159.
This is the moderator, and Mr. Chairperson, we seem to have lost your audio.
Furnish HIV pre-exposure and post-exposure prophylaxis known as HIV PrEP and PEP as authorized by SB 159. Members suggested the board could partner with schools, professional organizations, and stakeholders to develop fact sheets and informational videos explaining operational issues to the licensees. The committee also suggested using the board's website, subscribers' alerts, and newsletter to educate and encourage pharmacists in furnishing PrEP and PEP medication. At today's meeting, to expand the reach of the board's communication efforts, staff has met with members of Please Prep Me, that's the group, a community-based group, advocacy, and education group. Staff and Please Prep Me have discussed collaborating on messages about the implementation of SB 159 to increase awareness and encourage participation by pharmacists. Unfortunately, staff has recently been advised that Please Prep Me organization would be taking a hiatus beginning June 30th of 2020. However, staff will continue to reach out and work with other groups on developing and sharing messages about SB 159, including the California Department of Public Health, CDPH, and the State Office of AIDS. Staff will report back to the committee on communication and education efforts regarding SB 159. Any comments from our members, board members?
This is the moderator, and it looks like Son O has lost his audio. We have a caller, number 7. I could check and make sure that might be him.
Okay, please do.
Uh-huh.
Well,
caller user 7, is this Son O?
Hi, this is Song. I am okay. I think
Okay,
I'm
all
not
right.
lost.
Okay, all right. I wasn't seeing that microphone next to your name, so it looked like you had lost your audio.
oh, you're on. Any comments from any of the committee members? Hearing none, I will now open it up for public comment. Moderator, if we can make that happen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At the chair's direction, I will open up the Q&A panel. All right, the question and answer is now available. If you would like to make a public comment, please type, "I would like to make a comment," in the comment field and submit it to all panelists. We are displaying instructions on the screen. As a reminder, if a member of the public would like to participate in public comment, they must enter the WebEx event through the link provided in the agenda. If you are not seeing the Q&A panel to your right bottom of the screen, click on the icon of a person next to 3 lines at the bottom middle of your screen, and it should appear at your right. This is the moderator, and we have an individual identified as Danny Martinez that is requesting public comment. Danny, you've been unmuted and you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Danny Martinez with the California Pharmacists Association. Love to hear that this is being done. I would reiterate, and as was mentioned in the minutes that were just approved not too long ago, we did make a comment last time that CPHA is willing to help with the board on these sort of communication and education efforts. As a co-sponsor of SB 159, we did work with our HIV advocate partners on this measure. We included, cultural competency. We actually insisted cultural competency would be part of this bill. So again, I want to reiterate our desire to help the board with this sort of effort on communication and education. Not sure what happened with Please Prep Me, but again, we are willing to step in if the board chooses.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next, we have an individual identified as Keith Yoshisuka. And Keith, I will let you know when you have been unmuted. Keith, you've been unmuted. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. Keith Yoshizuka, President-elect of the California Society of Health System Pharmacists. Of course, before we start advertising the availability of PEP and PrEP by pharmacists, we have to get the pharmacists qualified. We have to get them educated so that they meet the statutory requirements. I want to announce that CSHP will be having a live broadcast at the end of the month on the evening of July 29th. It will be recorded and we'll probably have one more recorded live session. Then we'll take the 2 recordings, edit out, and take the best sections, and then put it online for a webcast that can be downloaded whenever the pharmacist has the time to listen to it. We try to keep it down to 90 minutes, but I think with the cultural competency and the instructions how to speak to a person about their sexual health is probably going to get extended closer to 2 hours. We're making this free of charge to all pharmacists. You don't have to be a CSHP member. Just like Mercedes-Benz, they have the patent for airbags, but they've never enforced it. They said some things are too important not to share, and I think this is one of them. The program has been developed by 5 qualified experts in HIV medicine. We spent between 80 and 100 hours in preparing this 90 to 120 minute program. So, we would welcome any assistance in getting the information out there for at least a pharmacist so that they can furnish the PEP and PrEP to combat this deadly disease. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, that is the end of requests for public comment. Would you like me to close the Q&A panel?
Yes, please.
All right, I will do that. Thank you.
Let me know when you're closed.
It is now closed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to item E. Discussion and consideration of providing information about possible consequences of DUI convictions on licensee renewal notices. The background: at the January 2020 committee meeting, members discussed educating licensees about the possible professional consequences of DUI convictions. Members suggested publishing script articles about the possible consequences of DUI and about the top 5 or 10 causes for license revocations. At the January 2020 board meeting, members asked what percentage of disciplinary cases involved DUIs. At the May 2020 board meeting, members asked the Communication and Public Education Committee to discuss providing information about DUIs as part of a licensee renewal process. For today, an update, a search of closed cases from July 1st, 2019 through June 26, 2020, found 9 pharmacists were disciplined by the board for violations of a BPC, as Business and Professions Code, section 4301, subsection H, and 4301, subsection I, which are related to DUI incidents. However, a staff review of each case found only 3 of the 9 cases involved DUI convictions. The remaining 6 cases involved activity covered by BPC sections 4301H and 4301I, other than driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. By comparison, 21 pharmacists received citations and or fines for violation of BPC sections 4301H and 4301I during the same period. To target pharmacists with information about DUI convictions, the committee could consider recommending to the board print information on inserts that are included with license renewal notices, similar to mailings by the DMV. Alternatively, because a growing number of licensees renew online rather than by mail, the inserts could be included with pocket licenses mailed to the licensees upon renewal. And any comments from board members?
Hi, Ricardo. This is Song. I think that it would be a great idea to include that into the pocket licenses being mailed to the licensees at the renewal. That should be more useful, just because I think most people will be renewing their license via online. I'm not sure the percentage of it. I don't know if the board members know the percentage of it yet, but that seems to be much more efficient. Also, we could have a link or some sort on the website as well that during the renewal process they mention something about this, if that's also possible.
Good points. I mean, we can explore and let the our staff give us some of their suggestions also, so we can continue on that. Any more comments from our board members or committee members? Hearing none, we will now open it up to public comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the moderator, and I will open up the Q&A panel at your request.
Thank you.
The Q&A panel is now available. You should see it in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. And if you would like to make a public comment, please type "I would like to make a comment" and submit it to all panelists. We are displaying instructions on the screen for your reference. And as a reminder, if a member of the public would like to participate in public comment, they must enter the WebEx through the link provided in the agenda. We'll go ahead and give you a moment to access the public comment field. All right, so an individual identified as Stephen Gray has submitted a request for public comment. Stephen, I will let you know when you've been unmuted. You will have 2 minutes to speak. And Stephen, you have been unmuted.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sanchez, I would like to suggest to be sure and include the following information when you notify pharmacists. Most pharmacists know that classically or historically they have a problem with DUI when it involves alcohol. Sometimes they forget about drugs that may cause a problem, but the law requires them to notify patients now in writing about problems with drugs. But what a lot of pharmacists don't know and applicants don't know about the board's ability to still take action, even though the person pleaded nolo, which is nolo contendere, or had their DUI record expunged. And I think if you include that, it not only sufficiently warns them, but it makes them it shows them how serious the board considers DUI. The second thing that they have questions to me and other educators, is does this include marijuana, either for medicinal purposes or recreational purposes? And I think that there needs to be some discussion among the board about whether the DUI actions include those subjects. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, this is the moderator, and we have no further requests for public comment. Would you like me to close the Q&A panel?
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right. The Q&A panel has now been closed at your request.
Thank you, and thank you for all those who gave comments. Okay, we will now move on to item F, update on communication and public education activities by board staff. The script, we'll start there. The most recent issue of the newsletter was published in March. Planning for the next issue is expected in summer. Staff also plans to develop an online survey. Pharmacists can take to receive 1 hour of CE credit as directed by the board. Any comments from the committee members? Hearing none. Public comment. Can we open that up for public comment, moderator?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will go ahead and open up the Q&A feature. All right, the Q&A feature is now available. If you would like to make a public comment, please type "I would like to make a comment" in the lower right-hand corner of your screen and submit it to all panelists. We are displaying instructions for your reference. If you do not see the Q&A panel, go ahead and click on the icon of a person next to 3 lines at the bottom middle of your screen. And just as a reminder, if a member of the public would like to participate in public comment, they must enter the WebEx event through the link provided in the agenda. We'll now give you a moment to access that field. This is the moderator, and Mr. Chair, I'm seeing no requests for public comment at this time. Would you like me to close the Q&A panel?
Yes, please, if you can. Appreciate it.
All right. The Q&A panel is now closed at your request.
Thank you. We'll move on to projects, online registry of services. Staff is working with DCA to complete a registry for the board's website that consumers can search to find local pharmacies furnishing naloxone, birth control medication, HIV, PrEP/PAP, and other services authorized by state law. The registry is expected to be completed for roll out in the summer. Any comments from committee members?
Hi, this is Ong. I have a question for the staff,
Yes.
if I may.
Yes, please.
So for this registry, is this going to be like about how often will it be required for the voluntary submission from the stakeholders? Will they, because I think this is a great idea, but the difficulty in these things is to make sure that they're current because things change all the time. So I just want to make sure there is some constant updating that will be somewhat mandated, or at least will be, provided by the stakeholders all involved, whomever the provider may be. So I just want to say that hopefully we can make sure that this is maintained consistently and updated.
Yes, we have a very capable staff, and they do fabulous work. Bob Davila, who puts all of our stuff together, and with some of the staff, I'm very impressed with what they come back. And we have our board meetings, and we give them suggestions, and they do the crunching of everything and how it can get done. And they've been really great about providing a pathway to get things done. But thank you for your comment.
Chairman Sanchez, if I may, this is Bob Davila, the Public Information Officer, and I can provide some more information if you would like to answer Member O's questions.
Please, go ahead.
Member O, thank you very much for your questions. Yes, we do have, the registry will have a form, a separate form that pharmacies can submit when they change their services. For example, if they decide to stop offering services they initially signed up and said they were going to offer, or if they start adding services. And this information will all be available there on the website. We do include language encouraging them to please keep us informed and when they change services, because we do want to be as current as possible for consumers checking this website. And we also will include information when their names pop up on the website during a search. Their address and phone number will be included as well, and we include information to consumers encouraging them to contact the pharmacy before they head down, just to verify that the services are still being offered. So we are trying to provide as many safeguards as we can into the registry to ensure that it stays current and reliable. It is a voluntary service. Pharmacies and licensees are not required to participate, but we do believe there will be a lot of interest among many pharmacies in doing so, and so we want to facilitate this as much as possible.
Thank you. Any public comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the moderator, and I will go ahead and open the Q&A panel. The Q&A panel is now available. If you would like to make a public comment, please type "I would like to make a comment" in the lower right-hand corner of your screen and submit it to all panelists. We are displaying instructions on the slide. If you do not see the Q&A panel, please click on the icon of a person next to 3 lines at the bottom of your screen. And just as a reminder, if a member of the public would like to participate in public comment, they must enter the WebEx through the link provided in the agenda. We'll go ahead and give a moment for people to access this feature. This is the moderator, and Danny Martinez has requested to make a public comment. Danny, you will have 2 minutes. I'll give you a 10-second warning. Danny, you've been unmuted.
Thank you. I have actually two questions. Is there a way that CPHA can, or not just, obviously not just CPHA, but everyone can get like an exhaustive list of what services this registry is going to be providing? We have, obviously, in the era of COVID and other things, pharmacists are providing different services. And this is something that we'd like to send out to our membership and alert them to participate in. Just not sure what exhaustive list are you going to be, if there is one available, if you can just provide that. And then second question is, will the board be hosting this on their website, or will this be done through the DCA website?
Good afternoon, Mr. Martinez. This is Bob Davila. I can answer those questions. The sign-up sheet, the sign-up webpage that pharmacists and pharmacies will see when they go to sign up will list the specific services that they can provide information about providing. In a nutshell, these are typically services that have been approved by state law already, such as naloxone, birth control, travel vaccinations.
Okay.
We will be adding PrEP and PEP and some others. We've shown that information to the board in the past, and I can certainly give you that information as well. But that when the pharmacies go to sign up, they will be able to check the boxes of the specific services that they are offering to let consumers know that those will be available.
Is that form available to us currently, or is that yet to be sent out?
It's not going to be a form. It's just going to be on the website.
Okay.
The web pages are still in development, but we do expect to have this finished pretty quickly.
Okay. And then could you answer if the board is going to be hosting this, or if this is going to be DCA?
I'm sorry, yes. It'll be on the Board of Pharmacy's website. You'll come to the Board of Pharmacy. DCA will be providing some support services and handling all the technical aspects, but people will find this information when they come to the board's website.
Thank you very much.
This is the moderator, and our next request for public comment is from Stephen Gray. Stephen, I will let you know when you've been unmuted, and you will have 2 minutes to speak. I'll give you a 10-second warning. Stephen, you've been unmuted.
Thank you very much. Bob alluded to this comment already, but I think it's very important to reemphasize, and that the report indicates that this is a registry of pharmacies. But I already know that there's been discussions to be sure and include pharmacists who are not necessarily under the auspices of a licensed pharmacy or licensed hospitals. We do have the ability in California to practice our profession in virtually any place. And I think it's important, and I know Bob knows this, to be sure to list services that pharmacists are offering that as a profession, but they're not at a pharmacy. Thank you.
All right, this is the moderator, and we have no further requests for public comment. Mr. Chair, would you like me to close the Q&A panel?
Yes, please.
All right. The Q&A panel has now been closed.
Okay, we'll move on to section B, notice to consumers poster. Efforts to survey consumer groups for feedback on possible changes to the notice to consumers poster have been delayed as staff has responded to the declared state of emergency related to the COVID-19 pandemic. Staff expects to have more information at the next committee meeting. Committee members, any questions or any comments? Hearing none, let's move on to public comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will go ahead and open the question and answer panel. All right, the Q&A panel is now available. If you would like to make a public comment, please type "I would like to make a comment" in the lower right-hand corner of your screen and submit it to all panelists. If you are not seeing the Q&A panel, please click on the icon of a person next to 3 lines at the bottom middle of your screen, and we are displaying instructions for your reference. As a reminder, if the public would like to participate in public comment, they must enter the WebEx event through the link provided in the agenda. We will give you a moment now to access the Q&A panel. This is the moderator, and Mr. Chair, I am seeing no requests for public comment at this time. Would you like me to close the Q&A panel?
Yes, please, if you can close that.
All right. The Q&A panel has now been closed at your request.
Thank you. We'll move on to section C, disciplinary case summaries. Staff is planning to begin publishing summaries of licensee disciplinary cases, which currently are printed in the script as a separate publication. This will help enable summaries to be published in a timely manner. Any board member comments? Anybody have a comment? Okay, hearing none. Moderator, can you open it up to the public for comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will go ahead and open the Q&A feature. The question and answer panel is now available. If you would like to make a public comment, please type "I would like to make a comment" and submit it to all panelists in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. If you're not seeing the Q&A panel, we are displaying instructions for your reference. You may also click on the icon of a person next to 3 lines at the bottom middle of your screen. And please remember, if you would like to participate in public comment, you must enter the WebEx event through the link provided in the agenda. Thank you. We'll give you a moment to do that. This is the moderator. Mr. Chair, I am seeing no requests for public comment. Would you like me to close the Q&A panel?
Yes, please.
All right. The Q&A panel has now been closed at your request.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to board provided training. Staff is developing a WebEx meeting format for providing the prescription drug abuse CE training previously provided at all-day events throughout the state. Participants will log into the meeting to participate in training and will take a quiz at the end of the all-day event to receive CE credit. In the coming months, this will be available for licensees to participate. Staff expects to complete development of the 2020 Pharmacy Law webinar in July. The webinar, which provides 1 hour of board-provided CE law and ethics, will be posted on the board's website. Committee board members, comments? Any comments?
I do have one quick comment on the procedural.
Sure.
Is it possible we take items 3, 4, and 5 as one item, then ask public comments for all of them combined instead of doing it by each one?
Yes, you know, Ryan, I used to put them all together in the past, but I was asked to go for each one this time for some of the updates that people were asking questions on. But,
Well, these are
it's all the same thing. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more comments from the committee members? Hearing none, let's open it up to public comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, Ricardo?
Yes.
No, why don't you read number 4 and 5 right now, then open up for comments for 3, 4, and 5.
Oh, I was closing number 3 since I was already started with our for comment from our committee members and also the public comments.
Yeah, but why don't we just go 4, ask for committee member comments, then 5, committee member comments, then open it up for public comments on 3, 4, and 5.
Well, I was already done with 3 here. I was just going to go ahead and do 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
Or 4 and 5. You know, we're already done with 3 is what I'm trying to get at, and I was just going to
Gotcha.
close it out. That was it. Okay. Public comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the moderator. I will go ahead and open up the Q&A panel. All right, the question and answer panel is now available. If you would like to make a public comment, please type "I would like to make a comment" in the lower right-hand corner of your screen and submit it to all panelists. We are displaying instructions on the slide. Please note that if you would like to participate in public comment, you must enter the WebEx through the link provided in the agenda. We will go ahead and give you a moment to access this feature. This is the moderator, Mr. Chair. I am seeing no request for public comment. Would you like me to close the Q&A panel? And Mr. Chair, I am not hearing you at this time.
Let's go ahead and close it up and we'll move on.
Okay. All right. It has now been closed at your request.
Okay. Section 4 and 5 is news media and public outreach. Staff provided information to news reporters in response to recent media inquiries listed in attachment 2, which our committee members have. And our public outreach, because of shelter-in-place orders during the COVID-19 pandemic emergency, board inspectors and staff reported no outreach events since the last committee meetings. It is expected that some events may be scheduled later this year. Any committee board member questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. Moderator, can we open it up to the public for public comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the moderator, and I am opening up the Q&A feature. All right. The Q&A feature is now available. If you would like to make a public comment, please type "I would like to make a comment" in the lower right-hand corner of your screen and submit it to all panelists. We are displaying instructions on the slide. If you do not see this feature, please click on the icon of a person at the bottom middle of your screen, and it should appear to your right. Please note, if you would like to participate in public comment, you must enter the WebEx event through the link provided in the agenda. We will give you a moment to access this feature. This is the moderator, and Mr. Chair, I'm seeing no requests for public comment at this time. Would you like me to close the Q&A panel?
Yes, please.
All right, the Q&A panel has now been closed at your request.
Okay, coming toward the end here. Future meeting dates. The last Communication and Public Education Committee meeting in 2020 will be Tuesday, October 27th. Any other committee or public comments? Actually, any committee member have any questions or comments? Future meeting dates? October 27th. Okay, hearing none. Can we open it up to the public?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the moderator, and I will now open the Q&A panel. The question and answer panel is now available. If you would like to make a public comment, please type "I would like to make a comment" in the lower right-hand corner of your screen and submit it to all panelists. We are displaying instructions on the screen. If you do not see this feature, please click on the icon of a person in the bottom middle of your screen. And just as a reminder, if you'd like to participate in public comment, you must enter the WebEx event through the link provided in the agenda. We will now give you a moment to access this feature. Mr. Chair, this is the moderator. I am seeing no requests for public comment at this time. Would you like me to close the Q&A panel?
Yes, please.
All right, it's been closed at your request.
Thank you. Seeing that there's no other committee or public comments, this meeting is adjourned. So that's it. Thank you for participating or listening in to the public. Thank you for the committee members for participating.
Thank you, Ricardo.
Thank you. I appreciate your input.